H&K USP45 full size. Underrated gun, in my humble opinion. One of the reasons why I think that the full size, whether it be the 9, 40, or 45 in the HK USP line, isn't as popular as the compact is because of the assault weapons ban. One of the things that they did was obviously 10 rounds. And, when you look at a little bit smaller gun back then and you said, well, I can go with a smaller gun that holds the same amount of rounds as a larger gun, most people were going to go with the smaller gun. It made more sense because it held the same amount of rounds. This day and age, without the assault weapons ban, a gun like this, because it holds more rounds and it's bigger, it may be something you want to go over, something smaller that holds less rounds. And of course there's advantages, why you would want the bigger gun other than just the round count, sight radius, velocity, stuff like that. But usually the smaller ones are a little bit lighter than the bigger ones. But I think that's one of the reasons why the full size USP line just doesn't seem to be as popular. Anytime you see a USP for sale, it's usually a compact. And especially in 40, HK USP compact 40, man, that's a very popular gun. As far as the 9, 40, and 45 full size, I think out of the three, the 45 is the best selling probably, because it held 10 as opposed to 12 now. So we wasn't giving up too many rounds, but in the 9mm, 15 in the full size versus 10 with the restricted magazine, and then you can get the compact which held 10, which was a lot smaller. So it made more sense, and I think that could be one of the reasons why the Glock 19 is such a popular pistol. But about this gun right here, it's got quite a few features. It's a version 1, where you can carry it cocked on safety. You can decock it, leave it on there where you have your double action, single action, or you can put it on safety there. Don't know why you want to do that, but the option is there. A lot of guys don't like the Beretta style safeties and decockers where they're on the slide, and honestly I think I prefer that more than this. If when you go to hit the slide release, you could accidentally hit this, in the heat of a moment. I think this is one of those guns where, coming over the top, letting the slide loose might actually be beneficial, because that slide release and the safety decocker is just right there. I mean, it's very easy to get it confused. I mean, when you feel it, there's literally no difference in the feel, and it's kind of hard to get to it with this being, in the fire position. So that's something to take into account if you're thinking about getting this gun. The slide release on it is a very nice one. You got a lot of leverage on it. It works nice. As far as the gun overall, this is not a small gun. It's kind of known as being a large pistol. And, rightly so. It's 45 ACP 12+1. Really only loses out mainstream to the Glock. Now you got the FN45 where it holds 15. Not quite as popular as the Glock 21. But I like this better than the Glock. It just feels better. I think it looks better. It's just an all-around kind of unique design. And it's got HK's recoil reduction system where you can shoot plus P's in this. You can shoot them all day long, as many as you want. It has no effect on the gun. I think that's kind of cool, because then you kind of get into the 10mm range, with some pretty hot 45 ACP plus P's. That's definitely where this gun shines, I think. If you already got one of these, you pretty much got a pretty honking 45. You can go with some pretty hot stuff, and it'd do everything you want it to do. It's not really a concealed carry gun. It doesn't pretend to be either. It's just, they're thick, heaviness. Just offhand, it feels just a little bit heavy, but it doesn't feel bad. For what it's intended for, the weight, I don't think has any any means on anything. Usually a heavier pistol will help you shoot it better. A lighter pistol will help you carry it better. So it depends on what you want to use this gun for. But you know, the gun overall is just a classic. It's a classic, but I still think it has some validity in this day and age. I've got a suppressor height sights on it. I was thinking about buying a threaded barrel for it, but those are hard to find. So you can look at the tactical version of this, and I'd say if you want to get it suppressed, just get the tactical version, because by the time you buy the sights and the barrel, you're paying more than what you would pay for the tactical version if you're talking new. I got this one for about $5.50 used, and you can see it's in very good shape. I mean, there's really no wear. You got a little bit of wear just from racking a slide and a few rounds shot out of it, but some of these, the finish, I've heard really good things about this finish, but this finish does seem to be able to wear, meaning that you know, holster wear and stuff does have an effect on it over time. And you'll see some of these, they do have holster wear on them. So that's something to keep in mind. I think the Glock's finish is probably a little bit better for holster wear. Usually when you see a Glock, they're usually in good shape. Even if they've been carried. It's usually tough to find a Glock that's got a rough finish on it, I have to say. And these are pretty easy to find a rough finish on. So that's something to keep in mind. The magazine release on this is the European style little paddles, and I agree with most people where it's easier to use your trigger finger to come down and hit that magazine release, as opposed to going like this. Like this with your thumb, it just doesn't feel right. Your trigger finger is the best, you know, by far, because when you got it like this, you can just go like that. It's very easy, very intuitive. You know, coming around like this is just, you know, you got to move the gun like this. You don't have to move anything other than your finger. You know, you can't hardly get to it from here like this without adjusting the grip. So keep that in mind if you're looking for one of these. I wouldn't let that keep you from buying this gun. You know, if you're like, well, I'm not sure how that magazine release is going to work. I think once you pick it up and you feel the trigger finger method, I think you'll really like that. Well, you should anyway. The slide on this is very easy to rack. I can't do it because I'm holding the camera, but take my word for it. It's a very smooth, easy slide. Even ladies of smaller stature, you know, maybe not real good grip strength, I would presume to be able to operate this. So, you know, 12 plus 1, is that enough? I think so. I think so. You got to remember it's a 45. There's only so many ways around, you know, how many rounds you can get in this grip. I think they could have done a little bit better job, and I think they could probably redesign this magazine to hold more. You know, it's kind of a big magazine. I think they could definitely do better. Why they haven't redesigned it, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a technical thing where the follower or something, you know, needs to be a certain height so it doesn't tilt, or I don't know. Metgar that'd be cool, because usually Metgars hold more than factory magazines. That'd be kind of cool if Metgar came out with one of these. I'm not sure if they do. I've never seen them. Seems like they might be able to get about 14 in there, but I think 12 plus 1 is fine. You know, I think, you know, probably anything over 7 is probably in most situations going to be redundant, and even 7 could be redundant. But I got a FN509 here for comparison. You can see here it's quite a bit bigger. The grip is bigger. Everything about it is bigger. You know, of course, this is a 9mm. Also a very nice gun. One thing to note about this: if you put it up against the Beretta 92FS, the Beretta is actually longer. Whereas if you're just holding it in your hand, this one looks like it's bigger. But the Beretta is actually a little bit longer. Of course, the grip is going to be a little bit bigger, but it isn't nothing that's outlandish. But this one right here is smaller. When you go from this one, the HK, to this one, you can definitely feel a difference. But this is a 9mm. Very cool gun. The only complaint I got about this gun, there's only one complaint. That's the trigger reset. The spring, whenever it pushes it forward, needs to be a little bit stiffer. That's the only complaint I got about this gun. And it's not like the trigger reset's bad. It just doesn't push your finger forward. With spring just feels weak. Let's put it that way. So maybe they got a mod for that already. I don't know. We'll talk about that one in another video. But maybe one of the downfalls of this gun is the magazines themselves. And that's HK kind of across the board. HK is just expensive. They are just expensive. The gun itself is expensive. Should you buy it used? Should you buy it new? I say buy it used. I mean, it's an older design, so they do still make them new, as far as I know. $850 for a new one. Whew, man, that's your call, man. I bought this one used. I looked for a nice used one. I got a nice used one for about what you pay for a new Glock. To me, it's new. The only thing it didn't have was a second magazine. I got so many guns and so many magazines that it really doesn't bother me. You only have one. It's kind of a little bit of a niche gun. The rail here. Why HK does this, I have no idea. They're kind of full of themselves, I guess. At this day and age, I think they should have redesigned the gun. Well, not the gun, but the rail. I think this gun would be, and the HKs in general, like the HK VP9 and VP40 and stuff are really popular. Striker fired. You also got the regular rail, the 1913 rail. Why this doesn't? I guess they just want to keep it classic. There's some guys that might rail on it, no pun intended, if they change this. So, that is what it is. And like I said, I put suppressor height sights on this. I believe these are Heine sights. It's got a really good sight picture on it. It's just kind of fun to pick it up and point this gun. I kind of like tall sights, and coincidentally, these sights on this gun are actually pretty tall for being factory sights. These are night sights. These are those luminescent sights where you got to add light to them. Which ones do I prefer as far as luminescent versus night sights? Luminescent all day long. All day long. Especially if they come on a gun. I'll never probably change these. These are bright. I mean, these are like flashlights whenever you put a light to it. These right here. And this is night sights in general. They're just so dim. Kind of defeats the purpose. Tritium is not real bright. I think the name night sights is kind of a cooler thing than what they really are. Obviously these right here, you say, well, why did you get these then? Well, I got them because of the sights themselves, not necessarily because they were night sights, but it's got a little bit of silver around the tritium vials, which actually stick out quite a bit when you're looking. So what you're seeing is not the tritium; it's actually kind of the silver around it that makes them stick out. And I just like the sight picture, the 2-dot. I prefer that over like a 3-dot. I'm not a huge fan of 3-dot. I mean, I can do them, but I prefer this style, kind of just like a revolver. And you got that big rear sight face. Big front one, where you can get a good sight picture, in my humble opinion. Your mileage may vary. But yeah, it's just a cool gun. Should you get one? Like I said, that's up to you. Some people don't like the double action, single action, and this, like I said, this gun can actually be carried 1911 style. Safety up, which is on. Cock and lock, so you come off safety, boom, 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 put it back on safety. Or if you want to decock it, whatever floats your boat. Striker fired is kind of all the craze. Every shot is consistent. I get that. I'm not opposed to it. I can do either one. I don't rule out a gun because it's one trigger system over the other. Even double action only, I think, is, as long as it's a good double action only, is great. It's fine. I'd say that the biggest thing I have against like a double action only system is usually the hammer is bobbed, and look wise, I think it just looks better with the hammer exposed. So as far as a double action only system, that's about the only complaint I got. As long as it's smooth, and out of most of my double action, single action guns, this double action is probably the heaviest. Albeit smooth, but very heavy. Single action, very good. It's very nice. Not the best, but totally doable. Double action, it's better. My Beretta 92 FS is probably the best one that I've got. Out of my couple SIG 226, 228, Beretta 92 FS, this one, my CZ83. I got a Beretta 92S. The Beretta 92 FS is the best out of those. So, like I said, then this is a version 1, which is for left-handers, and it's the decock safety. They got different versions, and you can look that up. Which version is right for you. Takedown isn't as easy on this as some other guns where you got to pull it back a little bit, line it up with this notch, and then push this out. That can be kind of a pain in the butt. But then again, it's definitely not something that would keep me from buying it. The accuracy on these are really good. HK accuracy, I don't think is in question. Most handguns are very accurate. These are very nice. Palmer guide rod. I believe it's Palmer guide rod. Yeah. Yeah, go pick you one up. Full size compact, the HK45. That's another option. That one only holds 10, but it's got the updated rail on it. So that may be the other option in the HK line that you decide to go with. It's the HK45. Why they only did 10, why they didn't use this magazine, I don't know. I'm not really sure why. One of HK's brighter ideas, I guess, that kind of keep them from being at the top of the heap, for a lot of guys. Stuff like that, keeps people from buying stuff. They don't think in terms of, like Glock, they're universally recognized as being universal. So, and this is, I believe that USP is a universal self-loading pistol, I think is what it is. So, universal, I don't know. It's universal in some ways, in other ways it isn't. So, yeah, anyways, I hope you liked the video.